And we're back with another episode of R&R. I am your host, Jamerson Ballard, and we finna get into it. Happy Monday, everybody. Yeah, it's that time again, man. And man, it's been crazy, man. Recently, I just lost another person, my auntie actually. She was my youngest aunt, man, and we love you, Aunt Felicia. I mean, it was a little bit unexpected, so it hit different, um, and it really just brings you a little bit closer to your mortality. This it lets you know that life is it can be here today and gone tomorrow. So I don't want to make this a somber episode altogether. Um, I just success, right? Success to me is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. And anyone that is deliberately doing what they set in their mind to do, and they are doing it deliberately, is successful. But no goals means no destination, means no success. And we are, and we become what we think about. Um, and for me, they say that the change, let's say, be the change that you want to see in the world. And I'm doing that every day. You know what I mean? Because you never know. But today's topic is about under promising and over delivering. I mean, it's not necessarily something that is practiced, which is why I'm putting it out there because I would like for this to happen more. You know what I'm saying? But I really don't necessarily like to make promises. You know what I mean? I don't like to make promises, and especially not being able to keep them. But me being a capital letter, you know what I mean, and it requires you keeping your word, right? And so whenever you do make a promise, you would do good to keep it because as a man, especially keeping your word is really all you have. You know what I mean? But if on the off chance that I make a promise, I definitely want to be the type of person who not oversell what it is I'm gonna do or trying to do, or you know I do my best to try to maybe even lower the bar some so that and then deliver more than what is expected, whether it's on a business level, a personal level, even relationship level. It's, to be honest, I don't really think that people around me, like my family or anything like that, really expected very much from me because of my parents weren't very prestigious. They're my parents and I love them. It's just that without sounding disrespectful or anything, they just weren't people that were held in very high esteem, whether it was my mom or my dad. Now they were beautiful people, you know. It's just everybody's idea of success is different, but I didn't necessarily live the most successful lives. You know, keeping a job is cool, but again, we'd have to maybe define what success is. And now, if their goals was to have a son, they did that and they were successful, and I love them for that because I wouldn't be there if they wasn't, if they hadn't had that goal. And maybe they were trying to, or was hoping to, or hoping that would be a success. I just, for the most part, I was left to my own devices as far as that. So I wasn't necessarily aware of altogether what they may have expected from me. Now I knew my mom had certain expectations, and I wish she would be here to see a lot of these things come to fruition. But she's not here anymore. And R.I.P. Moms. She named me very prestigiously, and it's been a little bit of a struggle to live up to a name like mine because it sounds so prestigious, and I had to grow into it. But it's nice when the bar is pretty low and not much is expected of you, because it's just not that hard to succeed in. I didn't have people standing over me to make sure that I studied or did my homework. I had to do all those things on my own. I was very, very self motivated because, to be perfectly honest, I'm tall and I just didn't want to be a tall person that was held back or had to repeat grades and things of this nature. So I definitely had to push harder to get the normal amount of stuff done, but I never turned that off, and I continue to go harder with everything I attach myself to because I don't think anybody expected for me to be successful, but it doesn't matter what other people expected of me. I expect great things from me. You know what I mean? When you're in an environment where you're not offered very much, you have to make do with what you have. And for me, there was an abundance of pain, disappointment, abandonment, and I had all this size, and I could have been a lot more angrier and did a lot of things bad in order to ruin my chances of becoming a success. But I wasn't going to allow that to happen. My motivation to be successful was way stronger than, and I really have to thank people like my grandmother, who quite possibly lifted me up in prayer, and I thank God for that. Because it was a couple times where it was looking kind of crazy, but in my earlier years, like my early teen years, I'm sorry, maybe 16 when I was in Job Corps, I had a discrepancy, and a lady there, a random lady, totally random. I had no idea who she was, and it was like she suggested to me that I read the book of Proverbs. And I took the lady's suggestion, and it changed my entire life. It changed my perspective, and I made a lot of wise decisions because I utilized the game that I received from Solomon in the book of Proverbs in order to continue to push forward and prevent a lot of things from taking place that, had I not read, I would have fell victim to my own flesh. Several different kids out of wedlock, which would have made it harder for a person like me to just, pay bills and stay current because, things like child support would have gotten in the way of that. You know what I mean? I wasn't trying to go out like that. You know what I mean? I see too many dudes do it. And you can make better choices too, and it would be better if you see the people around you making mistakes and learn from those instead of having to hit your own head on certain things and learn from that. That's still better than continuing to hit your head on the same obstacle and not learning from it. That would be classified as insanity. To do the same thing over and over and expect a different result. I couldn't take part in that. This is the 10th episode, so I'm a little bit happy about that because it's been, you know, a struggle in a way, but a beautiful struggle because although things don't stop happening, it takes a certain type of person to push through that, and I'm doing what I can to infect that on into you guys, to the Rant Gang, until y'all become a part of the capital letter club also, and to prevent a lot of lowercase vibrational cats out there who just existing and doing things because a lot of people might be under the impression that college is the way out, and I'm not against college. I've attended college. Now I didn't finish college, but I didn't let not finishing college deter me from being successful, and I may have made the mistake of mentioning my beliefs or my ideas to a younger cousin of mine who was also in college, and it wasn't my intention to to push failure. My point was when I discussed this with her was that basically college doesn't guarantee success, but your network will determine your net worth. You're in a place where it's thousands of children from different walks of life in different areas of the country, and you make contact with these people, and you generate a network of individuals who are like-minded, and when they disperse to their different or their prospective areas of the country, y'all can still communicate with each other. And if you was to move or even not move but just stay in your area, but you're connected with people from different areas, it makes you a lot more valuable, not more powerful. um, you'll have game from different areas of the country where you might not be privy to those things. Like, it's weird because I lived on the West Coast for a while, probably about 6 or 7 years, and right now I'm in the Midwest. But it's like living there and then coming back here was like being in the future and then moving back to the past. And one of the things that I did was I utilized all the forward-thinking ideas and businesses and things that I seen in this area and brought that mentality here, and I used that to my advantage. Whereas had I been the type of person that just deal with people that I already knew, I would have never been exposed to those things or able to journey to that part of the country and get the information that I got in order to give me the edge that I have on people that are in this area who may not think the way because they haven't seen the things that I've seen. Same thing when I went to Atlanta and moved there for a while and came back. It wasn't as forward, but it was still further than where we are here in Oklahoma City. Now, Oklahoma City is not a bad place to raise children. It's really boring. You know what I mean? And I wanted to know if I had what it takes to survive in other places that were faster than here. But first, it's best to be able to survive where you are before you try to go on to something else. But also, just like a fish that's in a small tank, you'll only grow as big as your environment. So, my apologies to my cousin for the misunderstanding. I just wanted her and anybody else to understand that, or particularly her, that I love her, and regardless of whether she was to finish or graduate, you can still be successful. And my love for her was not going anywhere because it wasn't contingent on her finishing. Although I would love for her to finish, and I assumed that she was going to. It just seemed like she was maybe going through a difficult time, and she was very free thinking. So I just wanted her to understand that you don't have to go to college to learn how to start a business. people do it, it's not necessarily necessary. I almost feel like college is a trick. I mean, if you're not using it right, it's an investment, but it could fall down on you if you're not keeping up with what's going on. If you're not aware of the career path you're taking and how it's going to grow, or over the next 3 or 4 years while you're in school. You know what I mean? That can be difficult to track, but at any rate, the main thing is to set a goal, set several goals, but you have short-term goals, long-term goals. You might have 3 6 month goals, and a year goal, and you want to keep 5 year plans in place, and contingency plans in case things don't work out the way you feel like they should, because things don't always work out the way that they should, and that doesn't mean that you know that you're a failure. It just means that you had a mishap, and now the challenge is to continue to bounce back. But a lot of that is going to be contingent on the type of people you keep around you. You know what I mean? So you want to keep like-minded people around you, and just do your best to vibrate on a higher conscious level, so that you don't get bogged down with failures and losers who are so familiar with failing and losing that they pull you into that also, because you doing something that they haven't done or are afraid to do, and they belittle you because of that, and you just lose sight of what you're trying to do because you're trying to please your current circle of friends. There's nothing wrong with growing or outgrowing your current social circle. It's almost inevitable. If you're anything like me, you're going to outgrow the people that you're surrounding yourself with right now. The person that you are at 20, you're not going to be the same person at 30. You shouldn't be. And you should probably be not necessarily a totally different person, but just you're not the same person you was when you was 30 that you will be when you're 40. You'll hopefully be having more money and be more affluent, and you probably lost a few people, but you just like in the past episode, I would just be unstoppable. Be enthusiastic. Read a book, preferably the Bible. If you're not there, though, I mean, there are plenty of books that have things that you can use. I just found that a lot of that is derivative from there. Now, if you have a different opinion about the Bible, I'm not here to debate that. And I understand. At the end of the day, though, for me, that was my base, and I go through life with the understanding that sometimes I'm the only Bible some of these people will ever get to read. Not perfect by any means. At the same time, though, I continue to put my best foot forward in everything that I do. And again, under promise and over delivering is another way of going above and beyond the Call of Duty. Or you just kind of set the bar where it's like, not low, but you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to tell a person that I can do X, Y, Z, and I can only do X. Now, I might not promise that I can do X, but then come through with X, Y, and Z, and now the person that I deal with, or the people that I'm dealing with, they are ecstatic to be around me, because, like, who knew that this person could do all these things? And I definitely like to be a pleasant surprise in the people's lives that I involve myself with, because, I've done some, I'm not perfect. The person I was when I was 12, I'm not that person anymore. I'm grown to, when I was 24 and 36. I've leveled up quite a bit. Had some casualties, but we have to keep going forward. I will take the appropriate time to mourn, but can't stop. Nothing stops. You know, what I mean, I had to learn that kind of the hard way, but you know, by losing my parent uh, at a you know earlier in life, and it hurt. In order to be great, you have to understand that you have to be able to operate during chaos, inside of chaotic situations. Can we still depend on you? As a man, I mean, yeah, we have days where we have to stop and, you know, maybe regroup, but when you have people counting on you, especially when you have a family and things like that, you can't afford to stop doing what you need to do. It's good when you have a job, but when you own a business and things like that, it's like, what a off day. What do you can't afford to have an off day. So I hope that you guys aspire to be business owners and things of that nature at some point, because ownership is key. I'm not gonna keep you guys long, but please enjoy the rest of your day. I hope that you guys gain something from this. If you so, please like, subscribe. Um, my cash app is $SuperStee, and you guys have a great day.